Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mervan. Mr. Rosendale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commander Marshall. I want to go into the educational benefits for our veterans right now. Dating back to the first GI Bill, the recruiters and the veterans have relied heavily on that benefit. It's been very good for all of us. It's been good for the nation. And it has come to my attention that a lot of the educational facilities now are having problems because the VA has made a determination that they're going to start recognizing any assistance that a veteran receives, whether it's from the VA or whether it's from the school itself, as assistance when they evaluate the 85-15 rule as far as the ratio of students that they are allowed to accept into that facility. 85% cannot be supported by Veterans Administration, and 15% can be. And if they can't go beyond that 15% number. I think most of y'all would agree that virtually every student receives some kind of assistance. And so if we change the interpretation of that simple rule, then we are going to eliminate the ability for a lot of veterans to attend educational facilities, and we're going to eliminate a lot of educational facilities. Is anybody aware on this panel that that is taking place, that the Veterans Administration is looking at changing that interpretation?
I'm not aware of that, but that wouldn't be something that we would be open to taking benefits away from veterans based upon that they've earned through their service.
Okay, so what I would ask is, can I then count on you and this panel to give me support to make sure that we revert that interpretation back to the traditional recognition of assistance, that it would come only from the Veterans Administration, and that would go towards that 15% number?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. The next thing I would like to ask Commander is that when we spoke about the burn pits and the exposure, and it is a terrible thing. I have a lot of cancer in my family, so I've seen both the emotional and financial hardships that it causes. Been very close to it. We need to define the exposure. We need to define the conditions, and then we can start delivering treatment. And this is something, in your words, that we have precious time to lose. And I agree with you. So wouldn't it be beneficial for the House to go in this week and pass the legislation that the Senate has already passed down to us, instead of going back and forth, so that we could start delivering benefits immediately?
Yes, sir. As I said in my testimony, it's time to work together to bring this issue to the forefront and get it passed.
And again, with having a piece of legislation from the Senate that's been approved, wouldn't it be beneficial to have the House pass that today?
Well, I think the biggest concern that we have is that is a great step forward, first of all. And there's great legislation on both sides of the aisle in both chambers today that both acknowledges these conditions exist, acknowledges the concession of exposure, and that we're willing to move forward with. And that's great, because again, we've got 40 years from the Vietnam, 30 years from the first Gulf War, and 20 years in the last wars. It's time to act. However, and when we're looking at the PACT Act, it incorporates that into it. It delivers a comprehensive plan that delivers more benefits for all generations. And it also delivers more than just health care, because again, in the portfolio that's designed.
Mr. Reese, look, I understand. We can always do better. There's nothing that we can't do better. Wouldn't it be beneficial to the veterans that are out there literally dying right now for us to pass that Senate legislation this week so that we could start delivering some treatment?
It would be wonderful if we passed the PACT Act that incorporates that legislation.
I yield back, Mr. Chair.